DC has created the Joker. DC has also unfortunately created Clock King. DC created Lex Luthor and also Dr. Forklift. It's all about balance. Today we are counting down some of our favorite completely ridiculous DC villains that you might have forgotten about. You love the Marvel version, so we are back with DC, and as silly as some of those Marvel characters were, they truly have nothing on the work from DC that we're gonna see today. Number 10, the Penny Plunderer. The man responsible for that giant penny that you often see in the Batcave isn't actually Two-Face. That story is a retcon. The Penny Plunderer is the man that actually deserves that credit. He was just a little bit too goofy and not quite popular enough to keep it. In his original version from the 40s, Joseph Coyne grew up absolutely hating pennies because he would get tipped in pennies and he wanted bills. But then he was fired for betting with pennies, and then he was robbing a cash register that unfortunately also only had pennies, and then he lost his mind about pennies and coppers, ruining his life, and that is how you make a villain. The Penny Plunderer, with his new gimmick, decided to steal a collection of rare antique penny banks, catching the attention of Batman and Robin. They battle at an exhibit centered around a massive penny, the one that later appears in the Batcave, before the Penny Plunderer pulls out all the stops. It's like a tongue twister now, making Robin slip on a handful of pennies, using them as brass knuckles, and unfortunately, in the end, pennies are still his Achilles heel, and needing a nickel to make a call, he only has 5 pennies, and so he was sent to jail. The last time he was spotted was 2016's holiday special, in which he was yelling at Santa Claus, and I knew that he was a villain, but that is like seriously crossing a line. Number 9, Egghead. The 1966 Batman show is an international treasure, and the reason that we have Egghead, an egotistical, egg-obsessed man with a very long forehead because his brain is just too big. The difficult parts of being a genius. Turning to a life of crime, the Rotten Egg worked with the likes of the Riddler and Joker, hatching a plan to take over Gotham City to win over the woman he loves. Eggman tried to mess with the city's lease, but was ultimately boiled by Batman and Robin. I mean, like, that was me trying to make a play on foiled that turned a bit more violent than intended. He wasn't boiled, he just went to jail. He was apparently one of the only villains to deduce Batman's real identity in the show. He realized that being Batman would be a huge expense, and there was only one man in Gotham with that kind of money and the right look. Luckily, when he was cracking the case, he was attached to the memory extraction machine, and Robin broke it before he could confirm the fact. Number 8, Signalman. Signalman is described in his first appearance as a bizarre bandit, so DC is letting you know, like right from the jump, that you are in for some goofy shenanigans. Phil Cobb has big dreams to be a master criminal, and he knew that the best place to do that was Gotham City. The problem was he couldn't get going because he didn't have a rep yet, so he decided to get himself a gimmick. Clad in traffic light colors, Cobb fights Batman and Robin by pulling fire alarms and switching signs, throwing the literal star signs at the dynamic duo. Eventually, he was beaten by his own game when he failed to see a signal that there were rocks ahead and his boat crashed. Signals are a pretty ridiculous method of fighting, but that's also gotta be mentally draining to think all of those schemes up, so Cobb changed his gimmick to the Blue Bowman, aiming at Batman with trick arrows this time. He still lost. It wasn't until he changed back to Signalman that he did do something pretty iconic in the form of trapping Batman inside the back signal, and that does eat. In the Prime Earth continuity, Signalman does still exist, but like all camp Golden Age and Silver Age villains, his look is significantly toned down and pretty serious now. Number 7, Snowflame. Snowflame is one of those characters that once you know them, you never forget no matter how hard you try. Snowflame has a bit of a reputation in the DC fandom because he is just so ridiculous. He was a villain to the New Guardians, a team of heroes designed by DC to handle the mature topics that other DC comics couldn't because a major audience for them was like young people. Did the New Guardians handle everything super well? Not always. Case in point, Snowflame. This villain gets his powers from disco dust, or like the type of snow that one lights on fire. You could also use your nose to get it in your system, like I'm hoping you know what I mean. Yeah, so that on its own is a wild choice, but some people found this character to be a little insensitive because they made him purposely from Latin America, which was already dealing with a lot of harmful stereotypes about this sort of thing, and actually a lot of New Guardians characters received similar backlash that they weren't anything more than walking stereotypes. So yeah, Snowflame has returned a couple times over the years. His last elimination happened when he fought, I think, like Peacemaker. The villain was trying to snort his power and ended up snorting a poison dart frog instead, and that was the end of that. Number 6, 15 Minutes Man. Every villain has to have a gimmick, right? But how far is too far? I would argue that 15 Minutes Man is a little too far. Remember those pizza places that were like delivered in 29 minutes or it's free. It's that, but dialed up to 11. 15 Minutes Man promises to finish any mission in 15 minutes or his explosive vest will go off. And I mean, hey, like for the elimination missions he's usually tasked with, this does get the desired results. I mean, if he gets the person, then he walks. If he doesn't, he just has to get close enough and the target is still eliminated, so I can see the appeal in the gimmick. It's still nuts though. His debut and only appearance was in Harley Quinn 30th Anniversary Special, in which he did not complete his mission, but did end up joining the Suicide Squad and helping Harley save the day. He didn't make it in the end though. Halfway through, number 5, Boss Glitter. Boss Glitter, I am your #1 fan, despite the fact that you are a horrible person. A crime lord and a fashion trendsetter, Boss Glitter runs his city with all the finesse of a man that dresses like a mix between Mardi Gras, a circus, and the musician Prince. Ridiculous and ruthless go hand in hand in his methods of elimination. The main hero of the city, the Heckler, was once in the hospital and Glitter sent him flowers with an explosive in them. He keeps his face out of the papers by wearing old Mardi Gras masks and employing a variety of lieutenants throughout the city to do his dirty work. Unfortunately, we're never gonna hear from Boss Glitter again because the Heckler Comics run was cancelled after only 6 issues, which is truly a tragedy in my books. Number 4, Dr. Domino. Dr. Domino has only appeared 1 time, which makes sense because he somehow has like way too much going on and also not enough. Dr. Domino is a Wonder Woman villain, and he, for an unexplained reason, wears a big domino on his head, hence the name. He tried to blow up New York, which is average villain activities. If you haven't blown up New York, you're kind of missing something for your resume as a villain. He strapped a knocked out Wonder Woman to the nuclear rocket that he built and sent her to the Big Apple. Luckily, she woke up and redirected that rocket to his evil ship, and that's probably why we haven't seen Dr. Domino ever again. He is described at the beginning of his comic as the world's strangest villain, and I can't help but agree. Number 3, Queen of Ants. Described as a bizarre and beautiful creature, the Queen of Ants is a criminal leader, ant lover, and villain to Dollman. She rides around town with her ruffians, searching for people that are hurting ants. If they see you using pesticide on an anthill, they will attack you, and the Ant Queen will throw a poisonous ant on you to finish the job. The Queen of Ants has only appeared once in Feature Comics 103, and her big plan there involves stealing the payroll of a major company by destroying the building. Not through traditional methods like explosives, but instead planting termite nests throughout the building and just hoping that it falls at the exact time that you need it to. And also that the termites wouldn't eat the money either, that seems unrealistic. Of course, because this came out in the 1940s, everything goes to plan, and Dollman doesn't end up defeating the Ant Queen until a few days later when he breaks the glass of her giant ants enclosure and escapes while they eat her and her ruffians. The Queen of Ants exists in the Quality universe, which is separate from the main continuity. Quality Comics was sold to DC Comics in the 50s, and DC acquired all the characters. Some of them they did revive and use, like the hero Dollman, but unfortunately Queen of Ants has not made the cut. Number 2, Colonel Sulphur. Colonel Sulphur is like a superstitious bad version of Wolverine. He has 2 things going on. 1, he lost his hand, so he has a prosthetic like robotic replacement with a little knife in the middle finger, hence the Wolverine reference. And 2, he will only commit crime at dawn. That is the only time. The crimes that he does commit are terribly violent, but he has that very short window to do them. He believes the sunrise is lucky, so as long as he only acts like a criminal during those few minutes, he will get lucky and never get caught. He does get caught every time, the first time just by Batman, and then Supergirl, and then Superman. In the end, the whole sunrise thing gets thrown out the window for future appearances, and he commits crimes at all hours. And finally, number 1, Dr. Forklift. Dr. Forklift is half man, half forklift, and that is only the tip of the iceberg. Villain to Plastic Man, Dr. Forklift was only featured once. He is so niche, he doesn't even have a wiki page. Dr. Forklift was not always part forklift, thank God. He was first a man with a traveling act, the great Golly Gosho, and his trained hamsters. He took his act to a chemical plant of all places, and one of those hamsters caused an explosion that combined Golly Gosho, chemicals, and of course, a forklift. An evil genius was born, and now Dr. Forklift has dedicated his time to creating a mind-transferring machine used to trade men's brains with hamsters, because remember, the doctor knows how to train hamsters, so this way he's gonna have an army. In the end, the hamsters with human brains fight their human with hamster brain counterparts, and Plastic Man defeats Forklift by pretending to be his ray gun to get close enough to bonk him on the head. Anyone who has read an early Plastic Man comic knows that this is actually pretty run-of-the-mill for the hero. In fact, the very next issue is the famous one with the game show contestant that dresses like a carrot that turns evil after being bonked by a flying blender. But that's a story for another video. It was so hard to pick just 10 villains, so let me know in the comments section which ridiculous DC villain you think should have made it. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, nerds!